It's night 21 in the game, and at Reveille camp, Mark and Boo Boo hug as they become much closer. Mark tells him they are in a fairly good spot right now, and he would be really happy to make Final 3 with him. Boo Boo agrees and says that as of now, he's focused on his relationships with everyone else so they don't target him. Mark says he's trying to do the same but finds it hard when he can't relate to many people. Karen and Anna chat, and Anna is fairly frustrated with Allison. Karen promises she voted Caden last night, and Anna says she knows she did. She also knows Allison still tried to pull off the move on Tanner despite the Alliance disagreeing with the move. Karen admits she doesn't want to spite Allison because they are friends, and she also can't be mad at someone who is trying to get rid of her rival. Anna says it's going to be difficult to trust Allison moving forward since she's very independent and doesn't care what other people think. As someone who doesn't have many allies, Jaya approaches Tanner and straight up tells him she's going to sheep him because at this point, nobody wants to properly work with her. Tanner is surprised and asks her if she's essentially giving up on her game now, and she says she sort of is. Her goal is obviously to reach Final 3, but in order to do that, she's willing to sheep the strongest player in the game, and that's him. Tanner tells her she can still have some input in these game decisions and that he would be happy to have her as an active ally. Jaya is glad and says she's done playing on the bottom. She finally realized she has to play this game with strong players in order to reach the end game. Ivy talks to Anna and Karen, asking them if Allison voted for Tanner last night. Anna nods and immediately says she doesn't trust Allison that much, but at this point, they don't benefit from voting her out. Ivy isn't too sure if it's worth keeping someone who is a flip-flop, but Karen admits she's not voting Allison out. She'd rather go for someone else who isn't in the Hupai Alliance. In fact, Jaya is on a silver platter for them next tribal. Jaya, Sarah, and Adriana chat in the meantime, and Jaya asks her if she wants to make a move next tribal instead of going after the weak like her and Sarah. Adriana tells her to enlighten her, and Jaya mentions that Allison and Karen are extremely tight and refuse to vote one another. That might be a duo they need to break up. Adriana isn't opposed, especially because Allison tried to flip the last vote and Karen is trying to vote out her close ally, Tanner. Sarah side-eyes Jaya, unsure if she's being serious or not. Day 22, and it's time for the reward challenge. Justin explains the rules. In this, all 10 players will be split into 2 teams of 5. Each team will nominate 2 players to be the puzzle makers, while the rest will need to carve a wooden block and then swim to the end stools. After going one at a time, once the 3 swimmers reach the end, the 2 puzzle makers will need to finish a 50-piece puzzle. The first team to finish wins reward, and it's a pretty good one. The winning team will head to Cave of Exile, where a game of Risk for reward awaits them. Justin then does a random draw for the teams. On pink, Allison, Mark, and Boo Boo are carving wood and swimming, while on yellow, it's Jaya, Ivy, and Anna. As for the puzzle makers, it's Tanner and Sarah for pink, and it's Adriana and Karen for yellow. The challenge starts with Allison and Jaya carving their wood. Jaya has an early lead over Allison, but Allison quickly catches up and even finishes her wood before Jaya. Once Allison reaches halfway through the pool of water, Jaya finishes her block and heads for the water. Allison sits on her finishing stool and Mark is up next for pink. Jaya gets out of the water and sits in her stool, allowing Ivy to head up for yellow. Mark quickly finishes his block and heads for the water, leaving Ivy still carving her wood for yellow. Mark breezes through the water and reaches the end, and Ivy finally finishes her block of wood. Boo Boo is next for pink, and Ivy struggles in the water. She finally gets out and allows Anna to go up last for yellow. Boo Boo finishes his block of wood and heads for the water, but Anna is still not close to done hers. Boo Boo reaches the end, allowing Tanner and Sarah to begin their puzzle. They both begin putting pieces together and try helping each other out. Anna is yet to finish her wooden block, really costing this reward for yellow. Sarah starts putting more pieces together and Tanner tries to copy off of her. Alas, Anna finishes her wood block and her team cheers her on to go fast in the water. While she swims, Sarah finishes the perimeter of her puzzle. Anna sits down, allowing Adriana and Karen to start their puzzles. Once they begin, Tanner actually finishes his puzzle after getting piece after piece in the correct spot, meaning Sarah is the last person left for pink. Karen breezes through this puzzle but Adriana struggles to catch up. It doesn't matter as Sarah finishes her puzzle, meaning pink has one reward. Justin lets them know they can head to Cave of Exile where their game of Risk for reward awaits them. As for the losing 5, they must head back to camp. At the Cave of Exile, all 5 people from the winning team arrive and stand side by side, reading the sign ahead of them. They learn that each of them will privately decide if they want to participate in a game of Risk for reward or not. If someone plays, they will need to pick a container with 2 scrolls and then pick one of the 2 scrolls for themselves. One scroll is an advantage, while the other is a disadvantage. All 5 players then decide privately on what they'll do, and it's revealed to them that all 5 agreed to play. They all laugh as they didn't expect everyone to risk their games like this. Allison is up first and chooses the second container. She picks out a scroll and secretly reads it to herself. She finds out she got an idle blocker advantage which can be played before voting begins. Once used, Justin will confirm that idols cannot be played at that tribal. It expires after final 6. Boo Boo is up next and chooses the second container from the left. He picks a scroll and reads it in his head. He sees he got the disadvantage which forces him to pull a chip out of a bag at the next tribal council vote which contains a name on it. Whichever name of the person he pulls out, that's the person he is forced to vote. Essentially, he doesn't get to decide who he votes and has to leave it up to chance, even in a revote and deadlock decision. Tanner is next and picks the middle container. He takes a scroll and finds out he won the safety without power advantage which allows him to leave tribal council before voting begins. The last time it can be played is final 6. When used, he will leave tribal council and be safe, but he won't vote. Mark is up next and chooses the far right container. He takes out a scroll and reads it to himself. He received the immunity necklace advantage which allows him to have free immunity for an entire tribal council if used. He must use it before the vote and it will be publicly revealed that nobody can vote for him at that vote. The last time to use this is final 6. Sarah is the last person up and she opens her container and picks out a scroll. She blows on it, hoping for something good. She unravels the scroll and makes it obvious to the others she's unhappy. She finds out she lost her vote at the next tribal council which also applies to a revote and deadlock situation. With all 5 finished, they start making their way out and find out along the way that they also get another mini reward from their challenge win. They will get fresh new clothes that they can add to their wardrobe, so at least they all get something good from this reward. Back at camp, all 5 people from the pink team return to Reveille and catch the attention of the rest of the tribe with their fresh new clothes. Sarah immediately tells the 4 of them that she lost her vote and even shows them the scroll. The other 4 stay quiet as they refuse to tell each other what they got. Meanwhile, Adriana and Jaya surprisingly want to work with each other for good now. Jaya says that despite their rough relationship, she doesn't see herself moving forward with anyone else but her. Adriana smiles and says she never thought in a million years she would do that. However, she's still very concerned that she's lying. Jaya promises to her she has nowhere else to go. She will even go as far as to throwing Sarah under the bus if it means anything to her. Adriana says the true test will be tomorrow because she has a plan that will rock the tribe. Tanner and Mark chat and Tanner lets him know he has the safety without power advantage to hopefully earn trust with him. Mark smiles and says he got an immunity necklace advantage. They fist bump and Tanner talks about the next target for him right now. He says Sarah is an easy vote because she can't vote tomorrow so she has nothing going for her. However, Mark spreads this seed of doubt in Tanner's mind about Allison as he reminds him she tried to vote him out last night. Tanner says he's right and actually wouldn't be opposed to voting her out if other people are on board with it. Mark says he will have his chats and figure out how things will go. Tanner then joins the conversation between Jaya and Adriana, asking them if they talked about the next vote. Adriana fills Tanner in that Jaya is willing to be another valuable number for them, and Tanner is thrilled. Adriana says that Allison and Karen have to be broken up. It wouldn't make sense to target Sarah if she's all alone in this game. Tanner agrees and thought of the same thing. He specifically wants Allison gone because she clearly has a secret advantage in her pocket. Adriana says if she smells anything suspicious tonight, she will use her hidden immunity idol to guarantee Allison goes home. Boo Boo and Ivy chat in the pond and Ivy asks him if there's anything major going on game-wise for him right now. Boo Boo shakes his head and says him and Anna talked a lot about keeping their alliance strong and voting out Sarah tomorrow. He reveals she can't vote anyway, so it's easy to pull off. Ivy raises her eyebrow and says she has heard Allison and Karen as possible voting options, but Boo Boo doesn't feel comfortable going with that. He doesn't reveal to Ivy that his vote is randomized tomorrow, hence why he wants a near-unanimous vote. It's night 22, and Allison and Karen approach Anna and wonder if she's finally down to flip on Tanner, Adriana, and Ivy. Anna breathes out, which immediately shows them she's not up for it. She reveals that Boo Boo filled her in just earlier that his vote is randomized tomorrow, so they don't know where his vote will land. It might just be easier to vote out Sarah unanimously. Karen plays with her braids, clearly uninterested in that plan. Allison says they'll talk more again, but she wants Anna to consider how brilliant this move would be against that strong trio. They need to strike at them first before they attack. Allison and Tanner stand by the fire and Tanner whispers to her if the plan is Sarah tomorrow. She nods and tells him nobody is steering away from that right now. She then lies to him and says she received an extra vote advantage which allows her to vote twice tomorrow, though only good for tomorrow. Tanner smiles and says he assumes Sarah would get her 2 votes, and Allison nods. This confirms it for Tanner that it's probably wise to stick his vote onto Sarah tomorrow. Mark talks with Boo Boo about how Tanner wants to make a move against Allison and Karen. Boo Boo says he heard people are doing that, but he doesn't want to go along with it. He fills Mark in about his randomized vote disadvantage, and Mark isn't that happy to hear about it. He asks him if he's okay with Allison going, but Boo Boo admits that if they let Allison go next, it gives more incentive for Tanner, Adriana, and Ivy to go after him and Anna. Mark rubs his chin, thinking about how they should move forward now. A bit later, Adriana, Sarah, Ivy, Karen, and Anna group up. Adriana straight up tells them that she doesn't trust Allison because she's roaming around camp, whispering in ears that a big move needs to be made. Anna admits she's very messy right now, but she doesn't want to vote her out yet. Sarah asks her who she wants out, and Anna throws out Jaya's name. Sarah smiles and says she obviously can't be part of that since she can't vote. Sarah turns her back to the women for a moment, and Anna looks at Karen, Ivy, and Adriana, and points directly at Sarah's back, indicating that she's the real plan. Day 23, and it's time for the immunity challenge. Mark returns his necklace to Justin and the rules begin to be explained. Everyone will be dumpster diving today, one at a time. The goal is to grab an item they deem the most expensive in under 15 seconds. Once something is grabbed, its total value will be revealed. After all 10 people have gone once, the person with the highest valued item will win immunity. The challenge starts with Ivy digging through her dumpster. She comes out with a golden statue figurine. Justin reveals it's worth $300. Tanner is next and starts digging through his trash like a maniac. He pulls out a giant bathtub which surprises everyone. Justin says it's worth $422, meaning he swipes the lead now. Anna goes up next and she takes out a bill worth $4, which is not enough to win immunity. Adriana is next and hesitates for a moment, not wanting to launch herself into the bin. She instead inserts her arm into the bin, scouring for anything at this point. She picks out an electronic part which is only worth $120, meaning she is out of this challenge. Jaya is next and she dives right into the trash, thinking the more expensive items are at the bottom. She pulls out a great-looking speaker which is worth $475, meaning she takes the lead now for this challenge. Mark is next and he gets stuck for a moment as he digs through the trash. He finally comes out at the last second with a copper part worth $90, so he is out of this challenge. Sarah is next and she digs for all 15 seconds and loses track of time. Justin calls that the time is up, and since Sarah is empty-handed, she is automatically out of this challenge. Karen is up next and she begins to dig with her hands instead of submerging her head in the trash. She picks out a plug worth $50, which isn't enough to win immunity. Allison is next and she digs out a scratched-up chair worth $120, which once again isn't enough to beat Jaya's score. It comes down to Boo Boo. He picks out a Tetra fish worth $8, which obviously isn't enough to beat Jaya, meaning Jaya has one individual immunity. Justin passes her the immunity necklace, confirming she will not go home tonight. As for the rest, someone will be the 11th person voted out and the second member of the jury. At camp, Karen talks to Boo Boo to see if the plan is still Sarah or if they can take out Tanner. Boo Boo says that Anna isn't going to vote for Tanner tonight, so they need to do Sarah as planned. This frustrates Karen as she feels extremely restricted with what moves she can make in this game. Tanner, Adriana, and Jaya discuss tonight's vote. Tanner tells them he feels like they need to back away from this Allison blindside and instead stack votes onto Sarah. Adriana immediately says no because they aren't going to switch after planning such a beneficial blindside. Tanner claims that Allison, Anna, Boo Boo, and Karen are surely voting Sarah tonight, and perhaps they should jump along as well. Once they reach Final 9, they have Mark and Ivy to make up 5 votes against the other 4. But Adriana still thinks Allison is the right move tonight. Boo Boo speaks with Anna about how desperate Karen is getting to take out her rival. Anna says they need to ignore her feelings and go with what's smarter for their path to the end. If they can get Sarah out, there's no reason for Tanner, Adriana, and Ivy to target the 2 of them. If anything, Allison and Karen are going to get more heat from them. Boo Boo agrees and says that as long as the Hoopai group stays, the 2 of them are in such amazing positions. That's why they need to get rid of Sarah, Jaya, and Mark as soon as possible. Karen approaches Mark and tells him how messy this vote is becoming. Mark knows and says he has heard Allison, Tanner, and Sarah so far as 3 different voting plans. Karen nods and heard the same. She's on the side of taking out Tanner because he's her rival. Not only that, but he has an advantage as well. Mark thinks Allison also has an advantage too, but from the looks of it, it's rumored she will use it tonight. Karen truthfully says she was never told about her advantage, which makes her curious why she never told her, but nevertheless, Karen hopes they can still vote Tanner out if he's down to do so. Mark says he's considering all options, so it's not off of the table. Before Tribal Council, Allison tells Anna that she has an idol blocker advantage that she plans to use tonight. She says this is their only opportunity to take out Tanner without getting themselves in trouble later. Anna shakes her head immediately and tells her not to do it. Allison says she wants to take out Tanner really badly. If she doesn't use this advantage, Adriana might use her idol on him. Anna begs Allison to stick to the Sarah vote plan, but once again, Allison isn't interested in it. Night 23, and everyone arrives at Tribal Council. Justin starts off by welcoming Caden to Tribal Council as their first juror. He then shifts his attention to Jaya since she won immunity today and asks her how happy she is to be safe tonight. Jaya says she's relieved because she was certainly someone who could have gone home tonight. There is an obvious group people who have been sticking strong ever since the merge begun, so it's no surprise that she's on the outs of that. Justin asks Adriana if her rival, Jaya, is really on the outs, and Adriana says it would seem that way. It's because she's from Original Huhu, a tribe that has been isolated by the rest quite a lot this season. Justin asks Sarah if that concerns her tonight since she's vulnerable. Sarah says she's especially nervous for her safety tonight as she can't vote. At yesterday's reward, she received a disadvantage where she cannot vote a tribal. Everyone knows about it by now, so it gives them an even bigger reason to vote her tonight. Justin asks Mark if he feels uneasy tonight since he's Original Huhu, and Mark takes a moment to think on it. He says he never really felt as paranoid as tonight. He just came off of being immune last round and Jaya just got herself immunity, leaving just him and Sarah as possible targets for the rest. Mark then looks around and then faces Ivy, asking her if he's heading home. But Ivy squints and obviously says no. Justin asks Anna how she's basing her vote tonight, and Anna talks about how important loyalty is in this game. If you aren't loyal to your allies, you aren't setting yourself up for the endgame. Mark continues to look around, paranoid for his life. Justin then reveals it's time to vote. However, Mark stands up and calls out for Justin's name. Everyone looks at Mark as he walks over to Justin. He hands over a scroll to him and Justin confirms this is an immunity necklace advantage which allows Mark to gain immunity for one tribal council of his choice. Since he's playing it tonight, nobody can vote for Mark. Allison then calls out Justin's name and everyone then shifts their attention off of Mark and onto Allison. She makes her way to Justin and gives him her scroll. She reveals that this may come as a surprise to some people since she didn't tell everyone about her secret advantage. She is playing an idol blocker advantage which prevents any idol plays for tonight. Justin confirms this is real, meaning nobody can play a hidden immunity idol after voting ends. Everyone turns their head to Allison as they process the advantages that have been played. Justin asks if anyone else has an advantage they would like to play, but nobody moves, not even Tanner with his safety without power. With that, Justin confirms they can vote now.
I'll tally the votes. No hidden immunity idols can be played tonight due to the idol blocker advantage. I'll read the votes. First vote, Tanner. Allison. Tanner. That's 2 votes Tanner, 1 vote Allison. Allison. We're tied, 2 votes Tanner, 2 votes Allison. Sarah. Adriana. Sarah. We're tied again, 2 votes Tanner, 2 votes Allison, 2 votes Sarah, 1 vote Adriana. Allison. That's 3 votes Allison, 2 votes Tanner, 2 votes Sarah, 1 vote Adriana, 1 vote left. Tanner. We are tied between Allison and Tanner. We will now re-vote. Everyone except for Allison and Tanner will vote again for one of those two. If there is somehow a tie again, rocks will be drawn. It's time to vote. I'll tally the votes. I'll read the votes. First vote, Allison. Tanner. Allison. 2 votes Allison. Tanner. We're tied, 2 votes Allison, 2 votes Tanner. Allison. 3 votes Allison, 2 votes Tanner. Tanner. Tied again, 3 votes Allison, 3 votes Tanner, 1 vote left. 11th person voted out of Survivor Rivals and the second member of the jury. Tanner.
Adriana instantly gets up and covers her face, extremely distraught. She faces the others and calls them sheep for following Allison's lead. Despite her words, Karen and Allison have wide smiles on their faces and they hug each other, feeling victorious over the move. Adriana goes over to Tanner and promises she'll get back at these people. Tanner quietly nods and proceeds to get his torch. He places it next to Justin and watches it get snuffed. Tanner heads out and Ivy comments that karma will come back to bite everyone. Justin lets the tribe know they can head back to camp, so they do. Next time on Survivor Rivals, after such a lucky randomized vote for Boo Boo, he was able to keep Allison, his shield, from going home. On the flip side, Adriana knows she's in danger, so she attempts to rally up the Hoo-Hoo members onto her side. But Ivy, who is supposed to be her closest ally, starts thinking about taking her out of the game for her and Mark's benefit. With the game remaining unpredictable, who will head home next? Find out on Sunday's episode. Tanner's final thoughts. Tanner feels like the guys this season have been super unlucky since they somehow end up on the wrong side of the vote. Of course, he has nobody to blame but himself since he essentially got himself voted out. He voted Sarah instead of listening to Adriana by voting Allison. In addition, he got out with his safety without power advantage, which he could have used to see another day in this game. It's bittersweet that Karen came out victorious within their rivalry, but it won't haunt him for life. What will haunt him is the fact that he got himself voted out.